Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. Joining me on this segment is best-selling author Dr. Leo Kormanik to talk about his Amazon best-selling book, Faster Without Fail. Dr. Leo, welcome to the program.
All right. Thanks for having me, Mark.
Dr. Leo, absolutely fantastic looking book. Congratulations on the accomplishment. And what I wanted to find out was, what was your inspiration for writing this book?
Yeah, I was really born out of a sports chiropractor, and I you work mainly with runners and triathletes and endurance population, and it was born out of me just having a lot of the same conversation with patients and just covering a lot of similar topics in terms of getting them to be a little bit more efficient with their form. And I thought, this is a tragedy. I'm just having this conversation one person at a time, and I need to put this in the more of a thought form and create a book with it. So started that process, and then that's when I met you, and you made the process very easy for me. So I just had to put everything I was saying on paper, and you guys did the rest.
Fantastic. Yeah, for your readers, when they get a hold of your book, what's the key takeaway? What do you really want them to get out of that book when they get it?
Yeah, I love this question because I get it a lot from my patients now that are reading, and they're like, so basically it's about running form, right? So, like I said, my specialty is treating runners, and if you're running wrong, you can do a lot of things that can injure yourself. And this is basically a book about like, what are some key things that are the most important factors to improve your running form? And probably the biggest takeaway is just understanding, the cycle of the leg and running, and being more in tune with that, and really breaking it down to, from what is a very complex thing, but breaking it down to very brass text on, this is how your leg should move. These are the factors that you should focus on while you're running to make it more efficient.
In your book, you cover so much, and you go into such great detail. I didn't even realize there was so much involved in running form. So out of all the things that you discuss here in your book, what's your personal favorite chapter?
Oh man, I would say probably the chapter on probably the actionables. I have a chapter kind of later in the book on actionables, and I think I even titled it that. And it's basically, the first third of the book is I kind of like tell you all the things that can go wrong, and then in there's some key components and there's some novel ideas. The middle third is a little bit more on like understanding your personal body, meaning like, where do you fall on the spectrum of your form? Where do you fall on the spectrum of your movement patterns, and breaking that down to very simple measures. And then the final third, which is the actionable chapter, it's like, well, what do I do with all this information? And then there's a lot of cues in there, and there's some drills and some exercises that make it more effective to understand the complexity of running. And no matter where you're at in the spectrum of understanding that, if you read the actionable chapter, you'll get some benefit.
Dr. Leo, what led you to get into sports chiropractic? Take us back a little bit and tell us, how did you get started?
Yeah, it's really just my own injuries. I ran in college, and then I ran professionally for a couple years after college, and I had a litany of injuries. I pretty much have tried them all. And so from that, you just get really effective at understanding what the sports medicine industry is good at and what they're not good at. And then from there, I just, started to kind of just fill the gaps, and wanted to be just a little bit more effective in terms of getting patients better quicker. And I just thought, like, honestly, there's a big disconnect between how the general public is treated and how professional athletes are treated. You watch a football game, you watch the Super Bowl, and somebody gets injured, and they go out at halftime, and they come back the second half, and they're playing great. Those resources are not often supplied to the general public, and a lot of that information is not supplied to the general public. So I wanted to bridge that gap. And so that's what led me into this field. Is I wanted to be in the trenches with the athletes. I understand their injuries. I get the empathy side of it. And then I also understand what happens at the very tip top level of sports. And I just wanted to sort of bridge that gap.
Terrific. In regards to your book, Faster Without Fail, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share with your readers?
I think what's probably the most important is that the feedback I'm getting is that it is technical. I my defense of that is I get it, but I came out with some novel ideas with running. I feel like the running industry has not touched upon some of the topics that I'm covering. So even if you're a novice runner or a professional runner, you're going to get something out of this book. So I would challenge people to, if you know anybody that's a runner or you yourself are looking to get into the sport, it's a very palatable book no matter where you're at on the spectrum. Even if you're professional, you'll find some nuggets of information out there. If you're just getting started, like Couch to 5K, please keep doing that. Please do not get dissuaded by the sport. You can read the book. You'll get just as much, if not more information out of it. So if you know any runners, if anybody knows any runners, it's obviously Christmas coming up, so some good gift giving for that as well. But basically, any runner on the spectrum can get some information out of this book.
Fantastic. And for our viewers, how can they get a hold of the book? And most importantly, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so Amazon's probably the easiest way to get a hold of the book. And as you said, we were able to hit some pretty good lists on Amazon. And so it's easy to get a hold on that. So my website also, drleokormanik.com, you can reach me through there. And then also on Instagram, I'm also as Dr. Leo Kormanik. And then I have a YouTube page for running rehab. And that's the name of the YouTube page, Running Rehab. And that's another easy way to kind of follow me and just get an idea of a lot of the exercises I'm talking about in the book and some of the examples if you might not understand some of the key topics.
Dr. Leo, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for Faster Without Fail and for you and for all of your clients and patients.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, Mark. Thanks for having me.
That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.